strategic planning is very serious as it relates to child care in my business. Like, it's scaling with different, like she does mobile services. I also do mobile services as well as my drop-in, the transportation piece, the mobile, occasional and date night piece. All of those come together as one big house, I call it. But you have to know your seasons. You have to know when you can take that on, when it's too much. Like what you said, the self-care. It's not bad to do it by yourself, but do you have those appointments set up where you can have that time to yourself so you can refuel yourself? Because if we're nothing, the people that we're trying to lead for the children, for the families, you don't even have to have a team. It's just nothing will grow if you're not taking care of you, taking care of your business, taking care of what you have planted. But know that it's a journey. It won't just come overnight. And just keep looking for what you can do, but knowing that it's the right time to do it, I can say. With my time, I've rushed a lot with having children and stuff. And so now that I'm into my 4th pregnancy, each one I had to reflect. I was like, God, what is Creative Kids going to do? That's what keeps me planting seeds in my business, planting more, and doing different services that can go for the community, because I know what the dream is supposed to be. I want to continue to touch families, touch children in the mission that I have and that we carry at Creative Kids. So in doing so, it just keeps me focused on what we're learning here, getting the knowledge that we can have here, having the students here that will help us through whatever we are struggling with in our businesses to build that foundation so that it can grow. But the foundation definitely does matter, but go at a pace that you can follow.
Good, yeah. That's Stephanie?
One of the things I just told when I said, when you're in this business, you have to, because this is your business, right? Build your business. If your business is you open up at 4 a.m. and you close at 2, that's what you do, right? I think that typically if you want an infant room, have an infant room. There's so many folks that I've talked to that are trying to create the traditional model. What is your model? You are an entrepreneur. In any other space, people tend to be more dynamic in that space. But in childcare, what I find is that most providers, we follow the traditional mindset of the 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or 7 to 5 space. And that may not fit for your family. That may not fit well for you. There is a huge untapped 3rd shift market. I stay full. And you know what? All you need is crib size mattresses or some twin bed mattresses. There are some, and you can go over to Lazy Boy. Rooms to Go donated and gave me 7 mattresses free. I went and talked to the manager and said, hi, I'm doing early childhood education. I was wanting to know if there's a way to get a discount. And so you have to be able, and I didn't pay anything for those mattresses. They delivered them to the house free of charge. I just had to sign a little piece of paper, do a little blog, boom, and they gave me my mattresses, right? And so when the fire inspector came out, he was able to see that I was able to provide that because I'm doing school ages. They're big. They can't sleep on our little cots. But guess what? I am making money while I sleep. Because in a family child care home, we can rest as long as we're on the same level with those kids. So you have to be aware. So I have alarms on the house with the ring system. So now, yes, I provide 3rd shift care. I'm sleeping, they're sleeping. Okay? But I'm making almost $1,000 sleep. The voucher system pays us for 3rd shift. So when I have struggling mothers, I say, have you ever thought about working 3rd somewhere? Because now their kid is taken care of, they're asleep. I can send you the little ring clip that you can see your baby sleeping. And now they're going to school. I get them up, we get dressed, eat breakfast. I drop them off at school, my day is done. And so trying to figure out other ways of making money so that we can be successful, right? And so I think that's an untapped space that most of us are not doing. The date nights are wonderful because most people want to go somewhere. So tag along with the concerts. There's a concert coming, flood your neighborhood with, hey, I understand Jodeci's coming. I'm dating myself. You should be Cardi B or somebody. But they need childcare, want childcare, and so come up with an affordable cost for that. The kids love it, put on a movie, have some fun. We're doing some of those things, but we're not strategically doing them. So that means that you get on the Chamber of Commerce, go spend some time with your local Chamber of Commerce. That tells you, it helps you meet other businesses. Businesses have what? Employees. Employees need to work. So if you partner with the business owners, you get customers. And so I think that sometimes we don't do that in our space, right? For us as childcare providers, we don't talk about going to the chamber of business. We don't talk about going to some of the locations. I have my business card at every pediatric office. And occasionally what I do, especially when I put date night, and I go to, because guess what? They got to go to the doctor. And if I get a little solicitation calls and stop soliciting, okay, fine. But my flyer on 100 cars already. And wait, I have my little helpers who know how to help. Right? So they pass it. I have some of my school leaders. Miss Stephanie can give you $20. They're part of my advertising and marketing campaign. Just put it right there on the windshield. Come on, y'all. And we'll run around real quick at the doctor's office on a field trip. We're gonna put them out, and you pay for that 4th size flyer with just your name. This is what we do. Call me if you need help. Because the biggest thing is that's alternative service. Now, does that impact your life? Yes. But would you want to give up a Saturday and make $1,000? New Year's, I made $4,500 New Year's night. Offering childcare for the whole entire weekend. And so guess what happened? Some of the kids didn't stay the whole weekend, but I made people pay in advance. Some people never even showed up. I created a little Eventbrite link and people paid in advance, and I was able to capture all that money, and people signed up for time slots. So trying to find your niche for when people need childcare. So guess what? That money carried me when 2 of my parents moved at the last minute. Those funds. So being more seasonal, providing those temporary injunctions into your business. And then the last thing I would say is go become friends with your local center. If you're a family childcare home, you need to become friends with your local centers. Give her your information, go partner with her, because if she needs a sub, your kids can go be part of her daycare. And you can sub for her for the day. And that way your parents know that they're here, we're safe, that her business stays afloat. You guys have an injunction. If you have a doctor's appointment, guess what? You have now partnered with someone who has more staff, who has higher capacity, and vice versa. And I think that that's the piece that we are not connecting with our friends and family and the centers. Trying to find that good partnership, because sometimes people feel like we're being competitive with one another. There are enough children to go around, right? We do not have to worry about that. And so if you can find the time to be on the books, and your contract to your parents, like my contract for my parents outlines my business and the 7 other locations and providers that we may have to help with for a day or a week, so that business does not close. And I think that that's the piece, because we don't have health care. There isn't a sub for a family childcare home. We get sick, who's going to cover it? Because you're the resource of one. Maybe your husband, your niece. So then now your parents don't have child care. But if you partner with a Miss Yolanda, you partner with Creative Kids, hey, if you have to come all the way to Raleigh, guess what? That parent has child care. And so I think that those are the spaces that being strategic, thinking long term, finding out what can I do so that I can stay afloat. That's where you can earn some space and relief that you need a break. I'm closing for a week because I'm just tired.
And that is what strategic planning is all about. It's not about I've got to pay the bills, I've got to order supplies, I've got to do this. It's not about the operations. It's more about innovation, as Yolanda mentioned, and it's about finding your niche out there and based on what you do. And we don't have a one-size-fits-all mission statement, but everyone's mission statement should be unique to them. So you have to find that niche. So excellent advice.
You said several times during your presentation that you need to apply correctly these applications and forms and things like that. Tell me, what does that mean, to apply correctly?
So most grants and most forms have an algorithm behind the scenes that determine the funds that you're going to receive. And so many times I think that, especially with the stabilization grant, the grant is forward thinking, and some people didn't put their capacity. So they put that how many kids they had versus their capacity. The question asked, what was your capacity? That was the first question. The second question says, what is your enrollment? Okay? People were putting just what they had, which was the 5. your capacity is 8. And in my case, my capacity is actually higher than that because I run weekends, first, second, and third shift. So I was able to triple my capacity. The grant was based on capacity and enrollment. DCD had to call me because I'm a family child care home. My max is 8, but 8 times 3 is 24. So I put 24 in that category because my capacity is 24 children. Right? Don't add the third shift and first, second, and third. So technically, I could almost triple that again. And so I did that with the last time. And so they called me about it. I can prove I have kids enrolled in all of these shifts. So it's not a lie of numbers, but that's my capacity. And then my enrollment was a different group. The grants paid money for children 3 and under. That's where you receive money. That's why if we were to compare numbers, some of us got different allocations. So if I know that I'm going to get more money for taking 3-year-olds and I got an opening, what age am I going to take? 3. So now you need to be strategic. So when a parent calls and says, oh, I have a 4-year-old, you're like, well, let me refer you to love. I'm going to shoot that child somewhere else because I am actively pursuing kids that can have, yes, their tuition is their tuition, but I know that North Carolina has given us this grant, they say to this year. But in my heart of hearts, all federal grants last 5 years. So we got next year. They just don't want to give us that money yet. We'll talk about that on the side. So now when you fill out the form, that's what I mean filling out correctly. And so many people did not fill out that component. And then the last thing I would say is that they had 2 options, option 1 and option 2. The state should be shaming themselves for even offering option 1. Because option 1 automatically gave you less money. But if you choose it, they let you choose your fate, and people select option 1 because they said they didn't want to do a bonus or compensation. Had you just selected 2, you would have grown up almost $2,000 more in your grant allocation. I thought you were here to stabilize us. Why would you even create that as an option, right? But people self-selected, and so that's what I mean about filling out the forms. When they gave us that little sheet that says the estimator, I went in and ran those numbers a couple of different ways, playing with the numbers. That sheet was the telltale for the algorithm of how much money they were going to give us. So at that point, I made sure that all my recruitments fit so that I could get more money. Because either way, I'm still doing child care. And so that's what I mean about filling out the form correctly.
So obviously you all are familiar with this. Is there a workshop or something that that is offered for those of us who are the newcomers on? That's just a yes or no, we can talk later.
No, but you know what? We are part of a network. So we have the Wake County networks, and we'll get you, take my name, get my information, and we'll get you plugged in. Because whenever there's a reporting season, we have a big meeting at my house in the backyard. We went to Golden Corral last time. Everybody brought their laptops, and I went around helping everyone fill out their stuff correctly. Before you hit submit, let someone look at it. You need another set of eyes on it so that you get the monies that you deserve.
Yeah.
And really quickly at the end of the workshop, we're going to send you all electronically some resources. So we'll make sure to get that information.
And just so, it's for license, those grants are for licensed programs. So if you're not licensed, then you're not able to benefit. So it's for licensed child care centers.
For right now. For right now. You're an advocate, and I know where
And then like now,
Raleigh is.
some of you need to get licensed, even if it's just a little bit, just so you can get the grant. And so to help you get through the licensing process, like you,
I'll help you get through the license.
See,
I'll
to help
get
you
you,
get through,
get you licensed.
get you licensed.
Tell me my last question, because that was one of the questions. I have an after school, which is K through 3rd grade. And it's at my home. And so I have been toying over the last few years whether or not a license or not. Will you just very briefly tell me, what does this license provide? I know you all know, but I need to.
I'm big on licensing daycare for so many benefits.
What does it provide? It's good to be good.
So I think for one, the benefits of, as Stephanie was saying, just, taking advantage of the stabilization grants, being able to service subsidy children, you have to be licensed for that. So just, I think I advocate licensing. I do, DCD and DHS, it comes with so many changing policies, rules, and it can be a headache versus, and everything. But just being able to, have that door open for being able to take, subsidy children on vouchers and as well. So just, being able to entail that there are a lot of criteria with being licensed, whether you're home. I started off in my home back in 2009 and now have a child care center where I have almost 90 children. But even being in a home center, I was licensed. I let parents know this is my license on the wall. I am, I have rules and regulations I have to abide by. I have a state licensed consultant will come in that will check certain things. My files need to be. So just also, being able, when I'm hiring, I want to make sure I'm hiring people that meet these criteria. You pass the getting your qualifying letter, just different things like that. So it's just holding you accountable to the services that you're offering. I do know some programs that are not licensed. They run a phenomenal program, but I do advocate for licensing. I really do.
Thank you.
So I am licensed for 5 years. I started in my home. COVID happened. I was like, oh, we gotta get out of here. So I'd rather close the doors at the building versus it being in the home. So I opened a small center about 8 minutes from my home. But my question would be, how do you get systems in place? So I have like the grants, we take vouchers with 3-star. It's hard to navigate through all of the DCD stuff. Like, how do I get systems in place so that it runs on a day-to-day function without me? It's like I remember how to do everything, but it's overwhelming. I got a 3-year-old now, so it was easier with my older kids, but now it becomes hard because I have a 3-year-old. So now I'm trying to figure out how do I put systems in place so that way the facility can run without me in a sense, because they can do it, but it's the second guessing. Like,
I can answer in 2 ways. So for me, systems in place for me is I built a core leadership team. So for me, I don't do it all. So I'm the founder, but I have a program manager, I have a human resource manager, and I have my co-owner. So I believe in delegating. I do believe in this is your lane, this is your lane, this is my lane, and everything. I do have a CRM system as well. I have a CRM team. So just knowing, putting people in place too. I do believe in, not just the system, but having people as the system and putting them in place and knowing I build off your strengths. So I know me, my co-owner, which is my sister, she's been my co-owner for about 13 years. She's very creative. She handles all the staff relationships, curriculum. That ain't me. I'm business. I'm gonna make sure we keep a roof over this and keep the building going. I'm gonna pay the bills, payroll, and all those things. So just, breaking it up. I have an accountant, I have a bookkeeper, I have a human resource manager, I have a program director. So just being able to put people in place and say, okay, let's run this together. Let's do this. And so that's how I put systems in place as well. Build it. I have a core leadership team. We build that team and go from there. And so I don't know if you have a home center or a center.
A center.
Okay, so you have teachers. So start there. Start looking at who exemplifies leadership. Who can I promote to site administrator and start giving little small duties to? That's how I start. I start like, okay, I see, Miss Tish has leadership skills. Let me start molding it. Let me take her through some training. And I start from there. Not necessarily I gotta go put an ad out and hire. And so I started from in-house. Let me grow these people from in-house to in here inside Abundant Love. And that's how I went. Like my program director, she's been with me 13 years, but she started off as my pre-K teacher. Now she's my program director. If I'm and my co-owner are out of the country, you better know how to run this center. If state comes in, health department, whomever come in, you know everything to do to run this center. Training. Training is key.
And where funds coming from when you ask them to do a little extra? When you ask someone to do something extra, where's the funds coming from? Because I'm at a point where, of course, doing the grants is like, okay, everybody getting paid. But now it's more so tight where I'm going to hold off. Don't pay me yet. Make sure all of this is taken care of. But maybe when the 15th hit, I'll get my check.
Also, I do a lot of fundraisers. I believe in fundraisings. I help come in and build. I have a fundraising committee within my programs. I help y'all with fundraising. The monies will run out, here and there. But I'm big on just being innovative. Fundraising. I brought in thousands of dollars just by
Be
fundraising.
creative.
Creative, yeah.
And when she said the New Year's Eve, that's a creative way to
Right.
do some funds. You can do that.
I know where you can get some free beds, so.
Be creative with your program.
One of the things is don't be afraid of utilizing your external resources. So, like Brightwheel, ProCare, some folks don't have those apps, but I always tell folks, consider getting the app. The apps, I have Brightwheel for family child care. I'm on a flat plan. They told me 6 months. I'm on a lifetime because I got to know the consultant and don't be afraid to ask. All they can do is say no. Because then we start saying, I'm a counselor. Because I only got 8 kids. I can keep up with this with an Excel spreadsheet. You're on the program. They don't want you to leave. That's going to look bad for their numbers. So being able to talk to the manager to talk about longevity and referrals and things of that nature. So I love I've used a couple of different softwares. You got QuickBooks, you got all this stuff. But don't be afraid of the technology because the technology can help you. I like Brightwheel. It's very simple. ProCare is another good solution. The kids care, those programs are really nice. They're affordable because they send reminders to your parents. And once you put that billing plan in, it sends it out to the parents. So that's an administrative burden that you now don't have. When you were talking about how to maximize and grow people, also look amongst your family. Look around, because family is interesting, right? But people have skill sets that are untapped. And then everybody needs a little extra money. They may not be good to work in the center, but they may be phenomenal at coming in here at midnight and stripping down these walls and putting up these display boards that you need to have up some stage to leave you alone. Right? And typically, I would say, I love using our retirees. They love a little extra cash flow. They know what this is about. They're going to be on time. They're going to be on time. And the kids, it's amazing. You take a bunch of rowdy kids that get on your nerves, put an older, more mature, seasoned teacher in that room for just a moment for story time. It's amazing how different those kids behave. Now, I will give you a disclaimer. Be careful getting Grandma Susie to come, because she might pinch them. Or back then they did this. I might get a little underarm pinch. Because that's a different generation. Children eat and waste a lot of food. I partner with 4 different food banks and go get all the applesauce and all the ugly fruit. And I bring it home and put it in my little Vitamix blender and I make my own applesauce. I got big jars everywhere. So I'm not wasting money in food. We do have the food program and it's great. However, you still have to buy and purchase the food. The other thing is I tell everybody, go to Walmart, Target, Amazon, register. I have food delivered every day. I don't go to the store. I'm not going in there. Walmart's on a continuous reoccurring order that milk, cheese, bread shows up at the doorstep every Sunday afternoon. I did not have to spend 2 hours in the grocery store running around because there's 2 hours I can have with quality time or 2 hours that I could be doing something else. Grocery shopping, and I've been doing this now for 3 years. I have never had a bad batch of anything delivered. So you just gotta be careful. And I have a little cooler outside. They know to put the milk in because I'm friends with people. Please, I got a big hole. They stick it in there and it's on the door, so I don't have to worry about that it's gonna go bad. And then I can come back and now offload it so I can spend that 2 hours doing something else.
Got time for 2 more questions. Yes, ma'am.
This is a little off, well, it's not off topic, but it is it's very specific, but it's on my mind. So we're in a very low SES. So Rosehill, Duplin County is where I work primarily. It's very low socioeconomic status. We have, our DSS is like super slow. We've been asking for a voucher for this kid who had an open case. And so we just were letting him come like without them paying because it's like, okay, we're assuming they'll back pay because it's there and like, you did your part, Mom, you said. But we struggled to get verification of that. And then recently we found that she didn't
Certified.
Thank you. She didn't recertify. There is like drug use. Now she's homeless. But the kid is with the grandmother. but they have a bill of like, next month it'll be $4,000. Yeah, like me and my mom, like we're bleeding hearts, but I'm looking at like she doesn't trust like the ProCare, the Bright Wheel stuff, so I'm working on that with her. But I'm doing all of the spreadsheets, so I kind of see that, but I don't, and I think there's special needs there with the like drug use. He's getting therapy with, through some of our partners. So I really don't want to, give her that whole like, hey, until you figure this out, like this is your bill, come back when you have a voucher and you do what you need to do, which is what I would do to most of parents, because that when they have to have their kid back, they're like, okay, I'm gonna do what I need to do now. But is there anything, like are there any resources for, I don't know, and I mean he's with like a family member, so I don't think it's like a CPS. I mean, it definitely already is, but like,
I think
I don't know
at this
what to
point,
do.
the conversation needs to be had with grandma, because grandma is going to go and apply for the voucher.
And she can do that?
Grandma can go and try to use the voucher because the mother has not, grandparents and parents have full authority. If it was an aunt or an uncle, you be in the wind, because that's different, unless they have a guardianship paperwork. But have grandma, even if someone from your staff, your mom takes grandma, pick her up, take her down to social services, find the office so that she can apply, because grandma has authoritative rights, that she can apply for those vouchers and show proof that the child is with you. And then you show the bill. They may or may not, in Wake County and typically Orange, they do not backdate, but there's always an exception. Ask for the exception. Right? And so that you're providing care. And then the other thing is just write it down as a business loss, because this is lost revenue. So you're being philanthropic, I would say still keep the child. I've done several of that, and all of us have probably done a version of that. It is a business loss. So when you do your taxes and you talk to your tax advisor, you present that negative asset as negative services. Services was rendered, there was not a payment. And still if they're a good CPA, they will be able to write that down for you, and it's a documented loss of income. Okay? So,
But you also, if it's a CPS case, you can also talk to the social worker, because it's just a slip. It's one slip that they sign that will give them daycare. It's one piece of paper. If it's a CPS case, you talk to the social worker with the grandmother and let them know they need child care. And it's a sheet of paper.
And they can scan it to me, and then I can get, that's the
I'm
only.
not for sure how it works where you're at, but I know for sure it's a slip.
Right. It's a simple process.
They can just sign off a form and they'll have child care. But you have to talk, if it's CPS, take the grandmother to talk to the social worker, because it's like a process, like the people that come in and take the kids. It is those just the workers that take the kids. Then it goes to a social worker. So you got to figure out who that social worker is and take the grandma in and let them know this child needs services. They have special needs and stuff like that. And it's a slip of paper. I promise you. They just sign it and boom, they care. I don't know if they're back paper. They can start from that point.
So I lied. I said that there was time for 2 more questions. There was only time for 1 more question. But as you can tell, Yolandra and Brenda and Stephanie have no idea what they're talking about. No, this has been great. They're full of knowledge, so please help me thank them for their input.